I took an interest in insulators before I ever got my hands on insulators. Probably 1964. I mean, I was really little, and for whatever reason, I felt an interest in the sparkly, colorful things on the poles. And it took, being that age, I was born in '61, so I was little, 3, 4 years old, and for some reason I took a fascination in these things. So it took me a few years before I actually got my hands on some, and my interest has kind of gotten away from it and then come back to it, where I'm more interested in the stuff that I saw in the context of how I saw it. The poles, the hardware, the way stuff was wired, the patina of it all in use, the rusty metal, all of that kind of thing. I think, like most collectors, I wanted, in the early days, I wanted to have them all. I wanted all the colors, all the shapes, and the brightly lit display case and all that. And after 10, 15 years, that just became sort of cookie cutter and removed from the context of how I first discovered and came into the hobby. And so my collecting has gone back to that, where I collect the stuff that either I really wanted to find when I was young and couldn't, it was beyond the rarity made it, or the cost made it beyond my means, or even just the simple common stuff. Probably 25, 30 years ago, as the open wire really started to become extinct, rather than go out and take it down, I'd go out and repair it. And so I'd see sagging lines or broken insulators, and of course I had lots of commons around. I'd just go and replace the glass, or to keep the line functional, so that the phone company wouldn't issue orders to tear it down and maybe extend its life a little longer. And that in the wires, out the in the context kind of environment is where my collecting jollies come from. And so the insulators, the pins, the brackets, the poles, my interest extends to antique cars and Victorian architecture and all that stuff that was part of what I saw when I was a little kid in the '60s. Old buildings and old cool stuff were things like Victorian homes with all the gingerbread and the stained glass, and I was drawn to all of that. It wasn't just insulators, it was everything. And so my house is full of the stained glass and everything. I've just filled it with that time capsule, if you will, of all the stuff. The insulators are just a part of it. I came to this show and I picked up all sorts of things that most people would yawn at, and a few brackets and pins and things that I can use back at my home to complete projects. All the wiring on my property looks like it's 1910, and old street lights, you name it. It's everything. There's nothing modern there, and so I come to the shows and look for hardware to complete the various lighting projects and this and that. And then we started doing our own show on Memorial Day, probably 20, 25 years ago, to get another show in the Northwest. So we got one in May, and then this one in August. But like this show, I come over here, but we come over here as much to go hunting and getting out and just scrounging around in scrap piles and looking for all that hardware and stuff. The show is just kind of a bonus or an excuse to get over here.